This is your 2001 read-along book.
I only have the Dune storybook. Is that a problem?
Every time you hear this chime, it means it's time to turn the page in your storybook. Now, if you're ready,
I've never been less ready for anything in my life.
we will start the story 2001, A Space Odyssey. Don't forget to turn the page every time you hear the chime.
What chime?
The age of the great dinosaurs had long passed. A terrible drought had dried out the earth for millions of years. Now, only those creatures who were strong and fast would survive.
And who could apparently exist without water, because of the drought and stuff.
The man-apes were neither strong nor fast. They had always been plant-eaters, but now all the plants were dying in the blazing sun. There was plenty of food around them in the form of other animals.
This is what I'm always saying. If animals don't want to be eaten, they shouldn't be made of meat.
But the man-apes had never thought of eating meat. If they didn't, soon they too would perish.
I never thought of 2001 as an anti-vegan track before, but this record has really opened my eyes.
One day, the man-apes happened upon a strange sight. It was a new rock, a shiny black slab unlike any rock the man-apes had ever seen before.
The writing on it said, "I told you I was ill. Spike Milligan, 1918 to 2002.
The whole tribe screamed with excitement. As they overcame their fear and reached out to touch the rectangular black stone, a new idea was born.
A chain-link barrier to surround the monolith and prevent tourists getting their damn dirty ape paws all over it.
Moonwatcher, the largest of the man-apes, picked up a strong bone and clutched it in his hairy hand.
Look, we've all been home, bored with the curtain closed on a Friday night, and I say, who is any of us to judge?
Something told him, was it the black stone, that he had found a tool, a weapon. Now he could hunt and live and evolve. It would take millions of years.
So he decided not to bother.
But someday, Moonwatcher's descendants, 100,000 generations from now, would evolve into man.
One of them would evolve into Tim Pool, so it wasn't all good news.
Moonwatcher cried out in joy and wonder and tossed the bone high into the blue sky.
I'm disgusted at the way they're ripping off the pre-title sequence of Barbie. Someone owes Greta Gerwig a shit ton of money for this.
Like the bone, the spaceship was also a tool. 3 million years had passed.
And the Manchester Co-op Arena was finally open.
Many things had changed, but some things had remained unchanged.
Matthew J. Elliott was still making jokes about the Manchester Co-op Arena delays when it had actually been open several months at the time of recording.
Like man's need for new discoveries. This is why Dr. Heywood Floyd, the world-famous astronomer, was a passenger, the only passenger, on the Orion 3 as it raced towards Space Station 5.
I assumed he was looking for the elusive Robert Denby.
From there, he would continue on to the moon, where a top-secret discovery had been made, one which the government hoped he could explain.
U2. They're a world-famous band, but nobody really seems to like them. I mean, not really. What's that all about?
As he gazed out the window at the blue earth far below, Dr. Floyd wondered how his colleagues and friends would take the news once it was made public. Would they be shocked or relieved to learn that the first sign of intelligent life elsewhere in the universe had been discovered 30 feet beneath the surface of the moon?
Fangers?
That sign was a black monolith, exactly like the stone slab that had saved the man-apes from extinction millions of years earlier. What new message did this monolith bring to man?
We apologize for the inconvenience.
Under the bright gleam of the excavation's floodlights, the mysterious black slab seemed to glow. Dr. Floyd and a fellow scientist made their way down the steps cut into the rocky pit on the moon toward the monolith.
I remember how we were all flying back and forth from the moon back in 2001. Eventually I was all like, yeah, but so what? I don't know about you, but I haven't been back since.
Dr. Floyd's voice rang through the radio transmitter to the other scientist.
What did your geology tests show? Was the monolith deliberately buried?
Yes, it was. There is a definite difference between the rock that the slab sits in and the fill we cleared from out around it.
Any clue as to what that monolith is?
A tomb, shrine, survey marker, spare part, take your choice.
Thank you, that's hugely unhelpful.
All we really know is that it's sending signals out into space toward Jupiter. So that must mean there's intelligent life beyond Earth.
Spending a day on Twitter is what I need to convince me it's all beyond Earth. That's right, Elon. I still call it Twitter. If you're going to dead name your kids, I'm going to dead name your platform.
The spaceship Discovery sped along through deep space toward Jupiter at incredible speed. 14 months had passed since the discovery of the monolith on the moon, and many lunar months had passed since the beginning of the spaceship's 2-year mission.
2 years? James T. Kirk will tell you it shouldn't even be considered a mission unless it lasts 5 years, and you only see 3 of them.
On board Discovery, crew members Dave Bowman and Frank Poole were the only 2 humans awake. The other 3 were in hibernation, a state of deep sleep in which their heartbeats and breath rates are greatly slowed down.
The Mitch McConnell effect, as it's also known.
This conserves their energy and the spaceship supplies during the long journey. Their life support systems were controlled by HAL 9000, the ship's computer. HAL could think and talk.
So what? I can think and talk, but I wouldn't put me in charge of a spaceship.
And perhaps even have feelings. It was Hal's job not only to run the ship, but to reawaken the crew when the Discovery reached its destination. Bowman and Poole did not know that their mission had anything to do with a strange monolith found on the moon.
They were working on a need-to-know-nothing basis.
Nor did they know that they were heading for Jupiter. The only ones who knew the full truth were the sleeping crew members and Hal. The crew members would not be awakened by the computer until almost the end of the trip, and Hal had been programmed not to reveal anything.
Not even his huge cybernetic Schwanzstücke.
It was Dave Bowman who came into focus in Hal's mechanical eye as he spoke to the computer.
Hal, Frank and I believe there is something about this mission that we weren't told.
Is there a reason we have to dress as sexy French maids?
Something that you and the rest of the crew members were told. Is this true?
Hal replied in his calm, quiet voice.
Piss off, Dave.
I'm sorry, Dave, but I don't think I can answer that question without knowing everything that both of you know.
As usual, Hal was logically correct, but he was also
kind of a jerk about it.
Stalling.
Well, that's the end of the first half of 2001, which would make it 1000.5, I guess. Maths isn't my strong suit. Thanks for joining me. If you're watching this on YouTube, please like and subscribe. And if you'd like access to over 100 more riffs, including classic Doctor Who, Jason of Star Command, and the 1944 Captain American serial, subscribe on Patreon.